everybody, welcome to Real Rebel. Today I am going to list off my top 11 recommendations for Halloween movies that are not so scary. But just disclaimer, what's scary to one person might not be scary to somebody else, or what's not scary to me might be terrifying to someone else. So you've been warned. So number 11 is The Witches of Eastwick, and it has an all-star cast. You've got Jack Nicholson, Susan Sarandon, Cher, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Jack Nicholson basically plays the devil. He seduces all three of these women. When they all kind of realize that he's been controlling them all, they hatch a plot as revenge. I kind of think that it's a little bit harsh on him. He doesn't, the devil doesn't seem like such a bad guy in this movie. I mean, he's Jack Nicholson. He's pretty cool. But this movie is a lot of fun, especially standout performance by Cher. She's excellent in this movie. Check it out. Number 10. Beetlejuice. It's a fantastic movie directed by Tim Burton. It's got Winona Ryder in it. I mean, she's wonderful in this movie as Delia Dietz. You've got Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin and Catherine O'Hara from Schitt's Creek and SCTV, and she's amazing in this movie. I just love her so much. It's a very imaginative film. It's completely original. It's so bizarre. You got this cool old house. You've got that wonderful dinner scene with the Deo where they sing Deo while they're possessed by Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. And most of all, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. He is off the wall, just crazy, zany, wonderful, funny. You gotta check out this movie. Number 9, My Name is Bruce, starring the one and only Bruce Campbell. This was a 3-for deal. We've also got Alien Apocalypse and The Man with the Screaming Brain, and they all star Bruce Campbell. But My Name is Bruce is basically, it's like a love letter to his fans that he basically filmed in his backyard in Oregon. My husband and I went and we saw a viewing of this movie back in Chicago, and Bruce Campbell was there. So after we watched the movie, he came out and did a Q&A. Absolutely hilarious. And this movie's beyond silly. Definitely worth a watch. Number 8, Once Bitten. Yeah, Once Bitten came out in the mid-'80s, and it starred Jim Carrey and Lauren Hutton. It could have been one of Jim Carrey's first movies, and he's so funny in this. And basically Lauren Hutton is an old vampire who needs the blood of a virgin in order to extend her youth and her beauty. And Jim Carrey's got a girlfriend, but he hasn't closed the deal yet on that, so he's prey. There's this dance sequence that's in this movie that is just, if you don't watch the movie, just go on YouTube, look up Once Bitten dance scene, and that is just hilarious. You've got Jim Carrey dancing and doing his thing, using his leg as an air guitar. You've got his girlfriend and Lauren Hutton fighting over him. It's so funny. Watch it. Number 7 is a combo of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, which came out in 1988, and then Elvira's Haunted Hills, which is the lesser-known sequel that came out in the early 2000s. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark is her story about, becoming a Vegas showgirl, and she goes up against a warlock who's her uncle, and it's a fantastic cult movie. Elvira's Haunted Hills, it's basically a love letter to Vincent Price movies, like Pit and the Pendulum and Tomb of Ligeia, and all these great old Vincent Price movies. And Elvira finds herself in the middle of one of these castles, and the evil lord that owns this castle is played by Richard O'Brien, who was Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I hope that you can find a chance to see this movie. I think it costs like $50 on DVD, which is ridiculous because it's such a rare find. But if you can find it, watch it. Number 6, another combo, Addams Family 1 and 2. So you've got the Addams Family and then the Addams Family Values. And these movies came out in the early 90s. You've got Raul Julia, who just plays Gomez Addams just perfectly, and Morticia was played by Angelica Houston, who's played equally as perfectly. And oh my gosh, those two, relationship goals. And you've got Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester doing his perfect combination of being lovable and creepy at the same time, as only Christopher Lloyd could do. And then the second movie is a great sequel where they branch out and they take the kids to summer camp and they have a third baby. And also the villain, played by Joan Cusack, is so funny. One of the best comedic performances I've ever seen in a film. She's hilarious. She marries Uncle Fester for his money, and towards the end of the movie she's holding him up with a gun because she can't kill him because he's Uncle Fester and he has special powers, and so she can't electrocute him. She can't do her regular things to kill him to get his money. So instead, at the end she's desperate. She holds a gun to him and and he goes, Don't you love me? And she goes, I want you dead and I want your money. In that perfect Joan Cusack way. Also has Christine Baranski and Peter MacNicol and as the camp counselors, and they are so funny. You got to check out The Addams Family and Addams Family Values. Number 5, The Worst Witch. Oh man, I watch this movie almost every year near Halloween. It stars Fairuza Balk, who is also in The Craft, another great movie, too scary for this list, but excellent movie. Diana Rigg as the headmistress, Hardbroom is her name, and Charlotte Rae is in it, but most of all, Tim Curry. Tim Curry in his, big pride cape that he comes out on and he floats in on, and he does one of the craziest 1980s music videos in the middle of this movie with every single computer effect that you could ever imagine, all rolled into about 2 or 3 minutes of mass hysteria. You need to see The Worst Witch. If you can, do it. It's about this outcast girl who's going to this academy to try to become a witch. She's bullied by a girl who looks suspiciously like Cotton Weary from the Scream movies. You just have to watch it. Number 4, Transylvania Twist. See, it's basically a spoof of every classic horror film that you've ever seen. I believe it was produced by Roger Corman, so any Roger Corman movie that you could think of, this movie pretty much spoofed. It also has Angus Scrim in it, who played the tall man in The Phantasm, and they do a little spoofage of the Phantasm in the movie. Hysterical. And one of my favorite parts, when the lead character is going through a hallway, he's got a torch and he's just kind of looking around and he goes, ch ch ch, and then he hears his voice echo off the wall, ch ch ch, and he does it again, ch ch ch, is the echo. I love it. Number 3, Zombieland. This is one of those great movies that has like the rules of how to deal with zombies in a zombie apocalypse. You gotta double tap. You gotta check the back seat. You gotta, safety first. You gotta have cardio. You gotta limber up. And most of all, Woody Harrelson. He's so funny in this movie. He's going around this post-apocalyptic world and he is on the search for Twinkies. Will he get the Twinkies? You'll just have to watch it and find out. Number 2, Army of Darkness. This is the 3rd installment in the Evil Dead series. Those 2 were horror films, especially the first one. The second one, Evil Dead 2, is more of a blend of horror and comedy, and the third one is almost basically a straight-up comedy. Now, I guess you could argue that there's definitely scary stuff in here. Like, as you can see, I'm a fan because I gotta have the theatrical version, the director's cut, the 4K transfer, and all that good stuff. And it, of course, stars Bruce Campbell, the master of the B film. My sister wanted to get me into the Evil Dead series, and she was very smart to show me Army of Darkness first because it definitely captures that humorous spirit that's in the other 2 films. I think I got it right away and just burst out laughing. Where Ash had that's who we named our cat after, was Ashley J. Williams. His hand becomes possessed and you see his hand like fill up with all this like evil, and he says, "It got into my hand and it went bad, so I lopped it off at the wrist." And I'm like, what kind of a line is that? I'm in love with this movie. Number 1, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is the perfect movie for Halloween. If you don't really like really scary movies, it's more of a comedy. You know, it kind of has some sci-fi elements to it, kind of fantasy. There might be some scary elements with ghosts and stuff like that, but it's mostly a comedy, and it really is a masterpiece. You've got top-notch actors in it. You've got a great story, amazing atmosphere. You've got, you know, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis. You can't go wrong with this movie. It's perfect. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. Bye!